Have you ever received a phone call from someone who was already dead? I did, and what my sister said on those calls destroyed everything I believed about my family. If you think this is just a ghost story, wait until you hear the last secret she told me. My name is Daniel. This happened to me 6 months after my older sister, Emma, died. She was only 26 years old. The police said it was a car accident. Everyone believed them, I believed them too, at least. At first, Emma and I were very close. She was more than my sister, she was my best friend. She always protected me. When we were children, she held my hand whenever I was scared, when our parents fought. She would turn the TV louder so I would not hear them yelling. She always smiled, even when she was hurting. After she died, my world became quiet, too quiet. I stopped answering my friends, I stopped going outside. Every day felt the same: wake up, go to work, come home, look at her picture, cry, sleep. Then one night, everything changed. I woke up because my phone vibrated. I looked at the screen. The time was exactly 3:13 a.m., one new voice message. I frowned. Nobody sends me voice messages, especially not at that hour. I pressed play. For a few seconds, there was only static. Then I heard breathing, slow breathing, and then, I heard Emma's voice. Daniel, if you're hearing this, don't trust Dad. I froze. Every hair on my body stood up. No, I whispered, this can't be real. The message ended. I checked the sender. No phone number, no name, just, unknown. I called it back. Nothing. The number did not exist. I played the message again. It was her voice. Not someone who sounded like her. It was Emma. I knew every little detail in her voice. The way she paused. The way she laughed softly between words. The way she said my name. Nobody could copy that. I barely slept that night. The next morning, I showed the message to my father. He listened, his face became pale, then, he smiled. But I still had no proof. Maybe he was simply shocked, maybe I was imagining things. Then the next night came, at exactly 3:13 a.m., my phone vibrated again, another voice message. I almost didn't press play, but I had to know. Emma whispered, Daniel, the basement. Don't let Dad know. The message stopped. That was it. The basement. Our house had an old basement. Nobody ever went there. Dad always kept it locked. He said it was full of dangerous electrical wires. As kids, Emma once tried opening the basement door. Dad became so angry. I had never seen him like that before. He yelled until she cried. After that, neither of us mentioned the basement again. Until now, that afternoon, Dad left for work. I searched every drawer, every cabinet. Finally, inside his bedroom, I found a small rusty key. My hands shook. I walked downstairs. The basement door stood in front of me, old, dusty, silent. I pushed the key inside. Click. The lock opened. I slowly opened the door. The cold smell rushed out. The air felt heavy. I switched on my flashlight. There were old boxes everywhere, broken chairs, old clothes, nothing unusual. Then, I noticed something strange. One wall looked newer than the others. Fresh paint, fresh bricks, as if someone had repaired it. Why? I knocked on it. It sounded hollow. My heart started racing. Before I could check further, I heard a car outside. Dad, he was home early. I quickly locked the basement, put the key back, and acted like nothing happened. That night, I could barely breathe. Did Dad know I had gone down there? At dinner, he barely spoke. But every few seconds, he looked directly at me, not angry, not smiling, just watching. I couldn't eat. When I finally went to bed, I kept staring at the clock. 3:12 a.m., then, 3:13, buzz, another message. Emma sounded weaker, as if she were far away. The wall, behind the shelves. Hurry. I jumped out of bed. I grabbed a hammer from the garage. Dad was asleep, at least, I hoped he was. I quietly unlocked the basement again, moved the heavy shelves. There it was, the strange wall. I hit it once, nothing. Again, crack. A piece of brick fell away. Behind it, there was a small metal box. I pulled it out. Inside, there was a diary, and several old photographs. The diary belonged to Mom, but Mom died when I was 8. Dad always said she became sick. That was the story I grew up believing. My hands trembled as I opened the first page. The words changed everything. If anything happens to me, It was not an accident. I couldn't breathe. Every page became darker. Mom wrote that she feared Dad. She believed someone was following her. She wrote about strange arguments, about money, about lies, about secrets. Then, the last page, I found out what he did. Nothing more, no explanation, just those words. Suddenly, I heard footsteps above me, slow, heavy. Someone was coming downstairs. I turned off my flashlight, held my breath. The basement door opened. Dad, he stood there, holding another flashlight. His voice was calm. Daniel, I know you're down here. I stayed silent. He took another step. You should never have opened that wall. I gripped the hammer tighter. My heart pounded so loudly, I thought he could hear it. Then, his phone rang. He answered, walked upstairs while talking. I didn't wait. I grabbed the diary, the photos, the box, and climbed out through the tiny basement window. I ran. I didn't stop until sunrise. I spent the next day at my friend Michael's apartment. Together, we looked through every photo. Most were normal family pictures, birthday parties, Christmas, vacations. Then, one picture caught my eye. Mom stood beside a man I had never seen before. On the back, she had written one sentence: "My brother knows everything." Brother, Mom had a brother. Dad always said Mom had no family left. Another lie. We searched online. After hours, we found him. His name was Robert. He lived in another town. We drove there immediately. Robert opened the door. The moment he saw Emma's picture in my hand, he started crying. He invited us inside. Then he told me something I never expected. Dad had forced Mom to stop seeing her family. He controlled everything: her money, her phone, her friends. Robert believed Mom wanted to leave Dad, but before she could, she died. Police ruled it an accident. Robert never believed it. Then he looked at me. Emma visited me last year. I froze. What? She asked questions about your mother. She thought something was wrong. My blood turned cold. Emma had been investigating. She knew, maybe, that was why she died. That night, 3:13 a.m., another message arrived. Emma sounded terrified. It wasn't a car accident. I covered my mouth. Tears filled my eyes. She continued. He followed me. Silence. Then, the message ended. I took everything to the police: the diary, the photographs, the recordings. Robert told them everything. The investigation reopened. Police searched our house. They broke open the basement wall. Behind it, they found old documents, insurance papers, letters, a damaged phone. It was Emma's. The phone had been reported missing after the accident. Forensic experts recovered deleted files. One video showed Emma crying. She looked directly into the camera. If anything happens to me, Dad knows why. That was enough. Dad was arrested. During questioning, he denied everything, again and again, but the evidence kept growing: financial records, hidden documents, witnesses, lies that finally fell apart. Months later, the court ruled that Mom's death was not an accident. Emma's death was reopened as a murder investigation. Justice finally began. People asked me if I hated my father. I didn't know how to answer. The man who taught me to ride a bike was also the man who destroyed our family. Some wounds never heal. You simply learn to live with them. But there was one last thing, one last mystery. The night after Dad was taken away, I waited. I stared at my phone. 3:12 a.m., then, 3:13, buzz. One final voice message. Emma sounded peaceful. For the first time, she wasn't whispering. She smiled as she spoke. "You did it, little brother." I started crying. "You were always braver than you believed." There was a short pause. Then she said something that still gives me chills. "I'm finally with Mom." The message ended. I waited the next night. Nothing. The next week. Nothing. Months passed. No more messages. Exactly 12. One for each secret she needed me to know. Sometimes, I still wake up at 3:13 a.m., I look at my phone, the screen stays dark, no messages, no calls, just silence, but every now and then, I think I hear Emma's voice in my dreams, not warning me. Not crying, just laughing, the same laugh she had when we were children, and every time I hear it, I remember one thing: the truth can stay buried for years, but sooner or later, it always finds a way to speak.